It's a pleasure to be joined now by the voice of Missouri Western Griffons, Tommy Rezac. Tommy, Missouri Western back in the NCAA Tournament, second time in 3 years. This team's pretty special. At times this year, they've went on huge runs. Early exit the MIAA Tournament, but still a 2 seed going into the NCAA Tournament this weekend.
Yeah, it's an interesting bunch. I think expectations were high right from the very beginning. You know, they were picked second in the MIAA preseason, got votes for first place right behind Central Missouri. And, you know, early on, they did have their stumbles. You know, they lost a game in San Antonio in November, lost at home to Pittsburgh State, got, frankly, walloped at Nebraska Kearney in December. They're sitting at 5-3 on December the 7th, and you're thinking, you know, where's this team going to go? And then, you know, they win at Fort Hays State. That was a ranked win. That was the start of a 5-game win streak. Drop one at Northeastern State, January the 6th. Won 15 in a row after that. I mean, Candy Whitaker, assistant Emily Wacker, that staff, I think they had a couple of, to quote Coach Whitaker, come to Jesus moments with their team and said, look, you know, we learned last year. We went 24-7 and missed the dance. So the margin for error, really for all of 2024, was very small because the Griffons dropped a few early and message received. They understood the assignment, went on this huge tear, like you said, beating ranked teams along the way. That win at Pittsburgh State to end the regular season felt huge. Got it back against Kearney. Season sweep against Fort Hays State. Won at Central Missouri. Got a lot of big ones that they really needed. But just like 2 years ago when they won the Central Region, yes, early exit in the MIAA Tournament, getting to the semifinals, losing to a very good Pittsburgh State team. Pitt went on to win the MIAA Tournament title. But 2 years ago, the Griffons lost to Lacey Stokes and Missouri Southern in semifinals, got the 7 seed in the NCAA Tournament, and then guess what? They went on to win and get to the Elite Eight. They won the Central Region despite losing out in the MIAA Tournament. Great stat that I read, or at least an interesting one, is only 3 times in the last 12 years has the 1 seed at the MIAA Women's Basketball Tournament gone on to win. 3 times in the last dozen years. Goes to show how good this league is in women's basketball.
I was going to bring that up too. You look at only 4 teams made the NCAA Tournament. Now that's because the Great American Conference had some upsets in their tournament, so a 3rd team from the GAC got in there, but only 4 teams made it. But you had 6 teams with 20 wins. Nebraska Kearney was, I think, 19 and 10.
18 or 19, something like that, yeah.
They were receiving some votes throughout the season. This wasn't an easy road to, get the 1 seed in the tournament or get a 2 seed in the region. How close was this back and forth between the MIAA this year, you feel like? Because, again, Pitt State right there won the tournament, Missouri Southern. You had Northwest for the 2 seed. It was just back and forth throughout, and it was a lot of jockeying for position. Who was going to get into the NCAA tournament this year?
Yeah, it's interesting. Missouri Southern, you know, enjoyed their perch at the top for a long time this year in women's basketball. They won 15 or something in a row in the middle of the season. Missouri Western saw them once, beat them in December. Well, then Southern stumbled at one point, and then Missouri Western gets into first place. But guess what? Northwest was still in contention there for a while. Fort Hays State was hot on our heels. But then Missouri Western, with Hays beating Southern and then Missouri Western beating Northwest, winning at Newman, they clinch it outright. In a year where 6 teams, like you said, won 20-plus games, and one of those 20-win teams, Missouri Southern, did not make the NCAA tournament because Henderson State pulling the upset, winning that Great American Conference championship. So the Great American Conference got 3 bids, the MIAA 4, and only 1 from the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference, Minnesota State. That's who Missouri Western's playing. Think of that, Chris. The NSIC champion, 26-5, and they're the 7?
Right.
You know, regionalization, don't get me started. A very flawed system that the NCAA does for Division II to clump all of these, let's face it, national powers together in one region. It's frustrating. I mean, it makes for some good games, but it's unfortunate because I truly believe Hays, Pitt, Western, throw Northwest in there. Southern Nazarene, the 1 seed, they've only lost 2 games all year. I truly believe those are some of the best teams in the nation, and it's I get it why they do it, regionalization, mostly for travel expenses. We're all going to Bethany, Oklahoma, a reasonable trip for everybody, but it's like, man, if we could run a model like Division I does and kind of spread people out, spread some of these juggernauts out a little bit, you'd like to see how that would play out. But is what it is. You know, the Griffons are the 2. That's a great place to be, and we know what waits for the Griffs if they win it, a trip to Civic Arena for the Elite Eight. 2
more questions for you, Tommy, and we'll get you out of here. Start with Candy Whitaker, Coach of the Year. I mean, the first time she's won it here. I mean, 5th season, 4 20-plus win seasons. We know that COVID year was kind of that rebuilding year with a lot of freshmen that are now a huge part of this run as well, getting a lot of minutes. I was talking to her earlier this week, too. she seems like she's having the most fun. She's even said that she's ever had in coaching. The second chance at coaching after what happened at Texas Tech to her and everything too. What are your thoughts on what she's done with this program, but also how she's embracing this maybe second chance opportunity that maybe at first she didn't know she wanted?
Well, she just got her 100th win at Missouri Western on Thursday in that quarterfinal win against Emporia State. So I believe her record's like 146, 147 just at Missouri Western. Got career win number 200 last year. Yeah, very deserving. 4 seasons where she's won a minimum 21 games. 21 wins her first year, 24 2 years ago, 24 last year, 25 and counting this season. So yeah, absolutely a deserving honor in a year, like I said, where Austin Meyer had a case, Ronnie Ressel had a case. It was a tough field, and so hats off to Candy. When you win this MIAA outright, it's pretty much no question. And for her to be in her 5th year and to have the success she's had, more than deserving. And yeah, I think she really enjoys coaching at this level. she's very public that she's very family oriented. Her and her husband Matt, 3 awesome boys. They're getting a little bigger now. They're in school now, but I think she likes the Division II level because oftentimes they travel together as a family. Division II allows you some time off around the Christmas holiday and things like that. And so, yeah, when she got fired from Texas Tech New Year's Day 2018, her alma mater, pregnant, that's a tough break, and she took about a year and a half off. Her and Matt were going to travel with their family and go see the country, homeschool the kids. That's how Matt Whitaker would put it. And then as we know, Josh Looney was able to make that call and get her on campus. And to quote her from a couple years ago, she said, "I won't ever know if I want to coach again or not if I don't take the job. So I took the job." And I heard Candy say what you said 2 years ago, that this group, there are 7 players who made the Elite 8 2 years ago that are still on the roster.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, that's an amazing carryover in this day and age. And Candy told me that then, when they made that Elite 8 run, that this group had her the most free and loose and easygoing, actually, being a little more humorous, being a little more loose in practice, which, there's a time to work, and then there's a time to keep it light, to, keep that camaraderie going and inject some humor and, just keep things together when times are tough. So, yeah, no surprise to hear that Candy's having a ball this year, because I know with this particular group, these last few years, to go from 6 wins 3 years ago to 24 in 21-22, and to just continue that 3 seasons with a minimum of 24 wins, now 2 NCAA tournament bids. She's got a Central Region title, an MIAA regular season title, and they're looking to cut down more nets this coming week.
Now, you brought up earlier that if they get through the Central Region, the Elite 8 will be here in St. Joseph, Final Four as well as a national championship. Not putting the cart before the horse here, but they've talked about it a little bit, how special this opportunity could be. I think Candy talked about it on selection night too, that this is an incredible chance for them to not only make a run through the Central Region, but also be back in the Elite 8, but playing it in your hometown as well. That's a chance that doesn't come around very often. What would this mean for maybe this group to potentially have that chance to have an Elite 8 run right here in St. Joseph?
Well, Brett Easley, who's the tournament director, St. Joseph Convention and Visitors Bureau Sports Commission director. Everyone knows who Brett is. But talking to Brett, so this is the 6th time the D2 Elite 8's in St. Joseph, and he said in 03, 04, 10, and 11, Missouri Western women's basketball was pretty nationally relevant, was kind of in that conversation to maybe make it. Well, each of these last couple years, it just so happens that Missouri Western is once again a national contender, and so for them to be in this position, I mean, Chris, we were talking about St. Joseph being the regional host. We were talking about Western being the 1 seed in the Central Region. Obviously, Nazarene deserving there with the best in-region record, but yeah, I mean, that's stories write themselves in March, don't they? And so that would be an amazing one. I think, last year's Elite 8 with the quarterfinals in St. Joe, I think it was cool to see. But I think attendance would be helped so much if Missouri Western or Northwest or just an MIAA team getting in there. I think there'd be a lot of curious onlookers who go into Civic Arena. It's the week leading up to Easter, so I think a lot of people will be getting off school, getting off work. So I think the attendance will be good. But, man, yeah, maybe I'm biased. I have a special interest in it. But, yeah, if Missouri Western could find a way to win another Central Region title and get to the Elite 8. Chris, Missouri Western's 4-0 at Civic Arena this year. They beat Winona State, Concordia St. Paul to open the year, and then they beat Washburn Emporia December 14th and 16th, had to play there when commencement was at Tom Smith Court. So the season literally began there. What a great bookend it would be if they could somehow end their season at Civic. It's a tough field, Chris. 4 of the 8 teams in the Central Region are in the MIAA. If the Griffons get past NSIC champion Minnesota State, Well, it's either Northwest or Hayes that they got to play in semis, so that's going to be a tough one. Nazarene, I think, a very deserving 1 seed. Pittsburgh State, the 4. Harding, the 5. This is an outstanding field in this MIAA tournament, or not MIAA. This is an outstanding field in the Central Region tournament, but you're the 2. I mean, the expectations are high, and I don't think it'd be outlandish if the Griffins won it. It was a pleasant surprise 2 years ago. They were the 7 seed. No one really knew what was going to happen. They blew out the 2 seed in the first round and made history. First Elite 8 appearance since '95 in 2022. So trying to get back there, and it goes from the underdog to, the target's on their back now.
All starts Friday down in Bethany, Oklahoma, just outside of Oklahoma City at Southern Nazarene. 2:30 for the Griffins' first round game. Tommy, you'll be down there on the call. Where can people listen to that at?
680, 95.3 KFEQ. It's been on the radio dial for 100 years, 33 of that as the flagship station of the Griffin Sports Network. It's my 3rd season with the Griffs. It's quickly coming to an end. It always flies by. But 680, 95.3, 680KFEQ.com, the free KFEQ mobile app. You can also tell your Alexa device to play KFEQ. So, it reaches far and wide, Chris, just like KQ. We reach the whole Midland Empire, so hope folks tune in one way or the other.
Tommy, thanks for coming on. Looking forward to Friday.
All right, thanks, man.